Hello everyone, my name is Skylar Boshin and I made a video about a year ago about my sextortion experience. And during that video I talk all about my victimization and what occurred, and that video was the first time I really said my entire story sequentially, years after the fact, and I would recommend going to watch that video before you watch this one. Today I'm going to read the victim impact statement that I read in court all those years ago. I hope by sharing this victim impact statement that it can help other survivors find their voice. That's why I share everything on this channel. That's why I continue to use my voice to help fellow survivors. You groomed me over the course of many months into believing that I was rude to tell you no. That I was rude by telling you to give me space when you'd follow me to class. You gained my trust only to use things I told you against me. I want to tell you something that you fail to understand. The fact that I am standing here today is a miracle. I attempted suicide twice and self-harmed for years as a result of the depression I sank into during and after your actions. My heightened anxiety, paranoia, and panic attacks made me fear walking through the hallways of my own high school, something no 14 or 15-year-old should ever have to experience. I worried that everyone had seen me that way, taken advantage of, worried that everyone who I passed was judging me based off things you told me you had told people. I cried for hours in my bed every day during the months of torture, knowing that the next day would be filled of the same horrors or worse ones. I'd jump every time my phone dinged. I'd feel as though I was about to vomit every time my friends would laugh, calling you my boyfriend because the way you'd stalk and follow and harass me. I isolated myself from my friends and family because of the shame that I never should have experienced. My family was forced to watch me suffer for years and had to deal with being woken up in the middle of the night when I had nightmares, or I'd wake up shaking, barely able to speak and drenched in my own sweat and fear. They couldn't understand why I was so broken, so entirely disconnected from my own body. They didn't know what things you made me do till a year and a half after, and telling them what I'd been through, watching your own mother cry, feeling like she failed you in some way is something no child or parent should ever have to deal with. My parents had to pay for countless therapy sessions, and still do. There were weeks when I'd have a panic attack a day, either in the school hallways or when falling apart in the school's counseling office while you were in the next room simply sitting at your desk. I lost a friend for 2 years. I used to throw up in the school bathroom when seeing him in the hallways, as a friend would whisper through the stall, "Are you okay?" I have lost the ability to trust people and give people the benefit of the doubt. Your impact on my life is permanent. I will always be more wary of everyone I meet. I will always block accounts on social media who are too friendly to me, afraid they're you. I will always be guarded. There hasn't been a time when I haven't had a horrible feeling in my gut when I saw someone who looked like you or had the same name. I lost years that I should have been able to simply have fun without being afraid all the time. Because of your actions, those years were taken from me. I can't walk into a classroom I tried so hard to distance myself from you in when you were stalking me. I cannot sit at the desk where you lied straight to my face, pointing to a different possible perpetrator. I cannot hate you more for making me hate others who had done nothing harmful to me ever. I cannot even try to explain how hard it's been to look at my friend and only see my friend, not hundreds of threats, not tens of images I never asked for or wanted. I have asked myself over and over how I didn't know or realize that it was you. That you were the person who brutalized me, who made me feel like I was nothing. Just a body made for the pleasure of boys. I read your letter as my mom held it open because I refused to touch it, refused to touch anything you've touched. Even looking at you now makes me sick. And not once did you take accountability for any of the specific things that you did. At every corner you avoided mentioning your crimes. You have not changed. Not after I cried night after night begging you to stop. Not after a police officer addressed you telling you to stay away from me twice because the first time didn't seem to work. Not after you asked another girl for the same thing you asked from me. Well, you had a girlfriend and came crying to me about how you were the victim because you were drinking, and I only know this from you. Not having to look your grandma in the eyes after she found out what kind of a person you are, you have not changed. I wish this wasn't true. I wish for society that this wasn't true because you are not decent, and your actions have not only shown your capabilities, but also your cowardice. You blamed your actions on your mother, but your mother wasn't the one who hurt me. You did that. You were the reason I cut slices into my thighs. You were the reason I could hardly look at myself in the mirror because I'd have flashbacks of crying as you made me do things I can't even say aloud. I want you to know that I remember everything that you made me do. I remember every threat, every demand, every manipulative tactic you used. I will always wonder if there are others like me who you hurt, who've been paralyzed in fear, that they will never come forward. I still remember the day my friend told me there'd been 2 other girls who came to him asking if he really was sending them the same kinds of messages you'd sent me when asking me to call you Adam. I remember being devastated when I found out they were younger than me and knowing that I'll never truly know what happened. But I'm not responsible for your actions, and for some reason, for so long, I thought I was at fault somehow, and that is the worst feeling. I didn't hang out with friends during months of depression because I didn't have enough in me to have friends. I didn't have enough to give. I wonder what my life would be if you hadn't inflicted me with so much pain. Maybe my first relationship wouldn't have ended with so much pain because I would have been able to open up. Maybe I could have been somewhat of a normal teenager, but you took that. You took it all. But that doesn't mean you get to take away my normal adulthood. Maybe one day I won't have flashbacks anymore. Maybe one day I won't have PTSD. What you did was in no way harmless, and it will continue to affect me, but that doesn't mean you have any power over me. Seeing you for the first time since finding out you were the anonymous Adam, I told my mom, he's not this terrifying person to me anymore. He's just pathetic. Pathetic through a computer screen, using a name that wasn't your own, stealing someone else's identity, stalking me and acting like it was justified. It must be nice to have others explain your crimes so you don't have to. It must have been nice feeling safe while walking through the halls. It must have been nice. I can't even explain the feeling of trying to comprehend how someone could do something so cruel and so calculated to you, and knowing that in some way, at some point, you trusted them and let them into your home. Finding out you were Adam was like being hit by a train at high speeds because there was a point in time when I trusted you, and that misplaced trust made me doubt everything in my life, myself, even living. And you will never know how that feels. But I hope you can someday realize how that might affect another person and all the people close to them. But the hardest part was not knowing, and there's been almost 2 years of that. Not knowing why, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to get out of this situation, not knowing who to be afraid of, not knowing if I was safe, not knowing if you'd ever be held responsible. So I've become a master at not knowing. And I guess in some messed up way, I can thank you for that. Yes, even in this situation, I find silver linings because I refuse to let you take anything more from me. You've taken enough. I want you to understand that everything I said to you that was kind was me, a young girl trying her very best to convince you to stop. I want you to understand that everything I typed that you wanted me to type was not because I wanted to type them. It was because I knew if I told you what you wanted to hear, your threats wouldn't come as often and your actions would be less cruel. I never liked you that way, ever. And when I couldn't stand living as your puppet anymore, I voiced that loud and clear and prayed that the next day I wouldn't be all over the internet in the sick way that you wanted me. You made yourself look like the hero, and my friend look like the devil, robbing him of a basic human right. You tried to seduce me in so many sick ways, and they didn't work. I will never be your puppet. I will never be yours. I do not belong to you. My body does not belong to you. I did what I had to do in order to get out of a horrible manipulation and blackmailing you put me through. I even did what most girls who have been through experiences like my own wouldn't. I told and I reported and I got justice and made you accountable for your horrific actions, for not only myself but for others, to lay a precedent that what you did is a crime and should never ever happen again. I hope the court took all of this into consideration when they determined your sentence. I actually have not read my victim impact statement in so long, but I wrote that and said it on the stand in 2019, and my victimization started in, I believe, 2017. It was incredibly therapeutic being able to relay my victim impact statement in court. And I hope that hearing my victim impact statement can help others realize that you still do have a voice, even though you feel like it's been robbed from you. And I'm just very grateful to have been able to have the people who I did stand by me and help me through the extremely difficult court process, because the criminal justice system is not victim friendly and it is beyond difficult. For any survivors who are watching this, I just want to say that you're extremely strong, and thank you for fighting and for watching this. Bye.